number of concerns with this. Firstly, we don't have proper debate and discussion or oversight and regulation in it. We know that Clearview AI were fined $7.5 billion by the ICO for scraping 30 billion faces from Facebook. But even then, we know that the faces have a huge false positive rate. So in Wales, for instance, a landmark case where the Court of Appeal overturned the use of it and struck against it because 2,541 people were highlighted and only 234 were accurate. So we've got false positives, we've got increasing surveillance, we've got random, almost criminalising all of Britain. It's like being in a lineup with a walking digital ID. The idea that being British and in England that your private life and that you're free to go along without encumbrance, unless you're considered to be committing a crime, is being upended. We've seen the Met Police now, even with their own statistics, across the 30 boroughs, tens of thousands of people in every borough being randomly filmed, and yet the actual arrest rate is very minimal. And we also have concerns about two-tier policing and targeting of certain types of protesters, certain types of people. So loads of false positives, not enough scrutiny, increasing surveillance and suffocation of much of what the public like at asylum, hotels and others, where we've seen with the Online Safety Act things being suppressed. So around all of this, we've got grave concerns. It should be stopped. It shouldn't be being increased.
Danny, sure, there is something called the Biometrics and Surveillance Camera Commissioner. That's a watchdog to protect against what Alan's saying. Is that enough, or are there these false positives? Are innocent people being blamed for crimes?
I think the technology and the safeguards have improved hugely since that court case about 5 years ago. And the Met Police is using facial recognition more and more effectively. Over the past 2.5 years, they've made over 1,000 arrests from deployments of facial recognition cameras, including arrests for sexual offences, for people who are wanted, who'd gone missing, for sexual offences and other violent crimes. It's 3 times more effective using a facial recognition camera to find someone than it is from using a police officer to find someone. The safeguards are there, and they have been independently verified by a study from the National Physical Laboratory, which was done 2 years ago, which found that the settings that are used by the Met Police and South Wales Police, which is the other force that uses it predominantly, there is no bias. There is a small false positive rate, but the number of false positives this year, the number of false alerts in 94 deployments by the Met was 7. And what a false positive means is that the system alerts the officer in the control room, and the officer then goes and checks with that individual, says, well, this is saying that you are Christopher Hope, who's wanted for this crime. You go up to this individual and say, are you Christopher Hope? Let me see your details, your driving licence, whatever, and says, oh, no, it's not. It's
Danny Shaw.
Danny Shaw. That's it, end of matter. It's not some gross intrusion. It doesn't suddenly mean, oh, you're in a police cell, you're banged up, etc. It is a way of checking identity of people who are wanted for serious crimes.
I mean, Alan, do you accept that this can be used in a good way if the safeguards are sufficient?
I'm a big fan of technology. Last year, 5 million faces were scanned. We've got a situation where we should be having policing without fear or favour, investigation and pursuit of criminals. But what seems to be the approach is a very technocratic wanting to survey, control and track. It's not just in facial technology, as it happens. We know about it in the discussion about central bank digital currency, digital ID, the Online Safety Act. And the question is, why are we going along down the line? I know why we are, because people are concerned about the lack of policing, and that's true. They're concerned about burglaries not getting done. That's true. They're concerned about lots of serious crime not being addressed. That's true. We talk about sexual offences. We've just seen the whole rape gang situation and some of the police involved in that. We've seen terrible things. But we must not allow, like with free speech, we must not allow a state, even if you think all these guys currently are great, and benevolent and considerate, and many of us don't. We think there's a two-tier. But then Russia and China demonstrate what this is all about. And you see in New York, as well as Wales and other places, lots of examples of the fact that this is very problematic, this technology. But even if it was completely accurate, we should not be surveying, tracking, monitoring all of our citizens on the basis of seeing, let's just see how we can solve some crime. We must have privacy, and we must have a situation where we can pursue our lives in a free way.
Joanne's got a point there. We have 6 million CCTV cameras, 1 for every 11 people in the country, 3rd highest penetration rate after China and America. There are civil liberties issues here. Yes, seems quite a small number they're lifting and arresting for facial recognition, but there's a wider issue about our own privacy, isn't there?
Well, you have privacy rights, and your rights are enshrined in the Human Rights Act,
yes,
which is very dear to you, I'm sure. And, you know, if you come out of the European Convention on Human Rights, then your privacy rights might be affected. Yes. So have a think about that. But there are safeguards around these measures. You talked about the Biometrics Commissioner. The Metropolitan Police and other forces have a very strict sort of set of practices that they adhere to around this. The data of the alerts is deleted within a month if it's not used for evidential purposes. And it's not about surveillance and tracking everyone. They're not interested in that. They're interested in tracking serious criminals, people who are wanted, and also looking for missing people. And really, this is an advance of technology that the police should be utilising with safeguards. And actually, they've been held back over the past decade because of a very effective lobbying campaign by privacy campaigners.
I'm so sorry, Alan, Danny, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm sure we'll have you back because it's a very, very important topic.